Hi students, in the previous session we talked about this food spoilage, the different causes of food spoilage, the different types of food spoilage, and how we can overcome the food spoilage and the factors which help the growth and survival of microorganisms and all these things. That is, the points related to food spoilage is discussed in detail in the previous session. I think all of you go through it. This is the continuation of the food spoilage section. In this, we are discussing about the food preservation. In the last portion, we have said that around for more than 40% of the foodstuffs harvested in our country is got wasted due to the improper handling and improper preservation practices. So we have to we have to save the 40 percentage. We have to do proper storage and preservation methods. All of you know it very well. Our country is facing critical deficiency problems. They are facing anemic conditions. Around 80% of the adolescents and the females are facing anemia, and many of the deficiency diseases are there. We are not getting enough fruits and vegetables needed per head. Need of the population is not met by, that is discussed in the earlier session. So on overall discussion, we have find that most of the our harvesting rate is enormously increased, but with the production, even if the production is increased, the produced goods are not properly utilized in our country, and around 40% is going waste. Means we are totally giving way waste of 40% fruit and vegetables, which is a great economic loss for our country. And at the same time, it is the crops that can be utilized to feed the poorer population. So here we are discussing about certain methods to preserve the fruits and vegetables going waste, not only fruits and vegetables as well as the animal products, but most of the fruits and vegetables are going waste because they have a shorter lifespan, so it is deteriorated very easily, and we have to adopt certain storage and preservation method to save it. So here we are discussing about the various preservation methods that can be adopted to preserve the fruits and vegetables, especially fruits and vegetables, and also meat and fish and all the animal foods can also be preserved by these methods. So we are moving to the food preservation. What is food preservation? Food preservation, we can define food preservation as a science which deals with the process of prevention of decay or spoilage of food, thus allowing it to be stored in a fit condition for future use. So we are preserving the food products for a future use. So it has also been described as a state in which any food may be retained over a period of time without being contaminated by pathogenic organisms or chemicals, or losing the optimal qualities of color, texture, flavor, or nutritive value. That is, over ripening or the deterioration of the food can be avoided by proper preservation methods. So this is, in short, we can say that food preservation is the saving the fruits or vegetables or the foodstuffs that can be wasted if not properly preserved. Then, what is the importance of food preservation? We already discussed it, but here is pointed out or bulleted points. What are the importance of food preservation? First, increasing the shelf life of foods, thus increasing the supply. Every one of you know that what is a shelf life. It is the safe period up to which the food can be preserved. So it increases the shelf life of the food products, making the seasonal food available throughout the year. All of you know the salting of mango and the preservation of different mango related products as well as the jackfruit products we are doing in our household. This is the example for this, making the seasonal food. Mango and the jackfruit are the seasonal foods in our country, in our area, in Kerala especially. So it can be available throughout the year by certain preservation methods. All of you very well known about that. Then adding variety to the diet, because jams, jellies, squashes, all are the things which have a different taste and texture. So this adding variety to the diet, saving time by reducing preparation time and energy as the food has already been partially processed. stabilizing prices of food as there is less scope of shortage in supply of demand, because we are preserved it, then all the foods are available throughout the year, so there is no shortage of food if preservation methods are properly adopted. Decreasing wastage of food by preventing decay or spoilage of food. The decay and spoilage of food can be prevented by proper preservation methods, so the wastage can be decreased. Then improving the nutrition of the population, as we are already discussed it, when the wasted fruits and vegetables or the food products can be preserved, we can feed the low income group population or the poorer population which doesn't have food for a day. Okay, that is what do you mean by improving the nutrition of the population. Then preservation usually involves what are the steps in the preservation, or what are the preservation aims at. First, preventing the growth of microorganisms. The first aim of preservation is to prevent the growth of microorganisms. Second is the chemical changes that is occurring in the food can be prevented. The first one is the retarding the oxidation of fats which causes rancidity. The major problem of fats and oils is the rancidity. മലയാളത്തിൽ കനയ്ക്കുക എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. So is the oxidative rancidity and reductive rancidity. There are different types of rancidity. Anyway, the rancidity occurs as the spoilage of fats and oils. If it is properly preserved or properly stored, I will not say it's a preservation method, it's a proper storage method. If we are stored it properly, we can reduce the incidence of rancidity in fats and oils. Then preventing enzymatic decomposition reaction in fruits and vegetables. Every one of you know, or we are already studied that the enzymatic reactions that is occurring in fruits and vegetables that causes ripening. This is in detail we are discussed in the previous session. So the enzymatic reactions are taking place for causing the ripening, and after ripening the fruits and vegetables, if not preserved or processed properly or stored properly, the chemical reaction will go on happening, and when the enzymatic reaction happens, the ripening will goes on. It will deteriorate the color, texture, flavor and overall texture of the fruits and vegetables. That is, we are called it as over ripening, and that can be prevented by proper preservation techniques or storage techniques. Then the main aim of food preservation is to minimize the decomposition of food during the storage period, thus promoting longer shelf life and reduced hazard for eating such foods. And the preservation also reduces the risk or the hazard of having deteriorated or spoiled foods. Then the principles of food preservation, based on which the different methods are. We are following the different methods based on these principles. The main principles of food preservation is, first one is prevention or delay of microbial decomposition. That is the contamination of fruits and vegetables by microbes which causes decomposition in the foods. So we have to prevent the microbial decomposition of the food. Second, in which when we are stopping the microbial decomposition, we can prevent the entry and we can also prevent the action of microbes. Second is by killing the microorganism, we are completely reducing the microbial count in the foodstuff, and we are destroying completely the microbial count in a particular foodstuff. That is the killing of microorganisms. Third is the prevention or delay or self decomposition of the food. That means the enzymatic changes that is happening in the fruits and vegetables can be completely prevented by the preservation methods. That is the prevention or delay of self decomposition of the food, which means the enzymatic browning reaction also included under this, and the over ripening of fruits and vegetables are also an example of delaying the decomposition of the food. Then prevention of damage by insects, animals and mechanical causes. This everybody knows it. The insect infestation and the rodent infestation are the example of this. We are preventing it to store it properly. It is especially applicable to the dried or the non-perishable foodstuffs such as cereals and pulses. in which there are rodent attacks or insect attacks can be occurred. Then the mechanical causes are occurring during the harvesting period. If not properly harvested or properly handled, there may be mechanical causes can cause injury or cuts and bruises to the fruits and vegetables or the foodstuffs. First, explanation of the first, prevention or delay of microbial decomposition. We can prevent or delay the microbial decomposition by three methods. First is the by keeping out of microorganisms, that is known as asepsis. Asepsis or keeping out of microorganisms, which means we prevent the entry of microorganism into the foodstuffs. How can you prevent the entry of microorganism in our foodstuffs? It can be prevented by proper packaging methods we can adopt. There are different types of packaging methods by which we can prevent the entry. This is the man-made methods. The Tetra Paks are the example for the prevention of entry of the microorganisms. The packaging for the all types of foodstuffs is an example for preventing the entry of microbes. There are varied types of packagings can be adapted for the foodstuffs, from the Unipack to the Tetra Pak. There is a wide range of packing. There is a packaging industry is developing in our country. There are a lot of researches going on the packaging industry. The Unipack is the each unit is packed separately. The wax coating is a Unipack example. The polythene covers are adopted is a example for Unipackaging. This is applied for the fruits like apples or tomatoes are packaged such type, in which there a very thin layer of coating is provided on the foodstuff that will prevent the contact with the atmospheric oxygen. Thereby we prevent the enzymatic reaction and preventing the over ripening or the self decomposition of the foodstuffs. From this Unipack to the Tetra Pak, all of you know the packaging of fruity, all of you know about the milk cartons. All these are Tetra Paks. They are having a 4 layers of packaging. They completely prevents the entry of microorganism, as well as even they prevent the oxygen entry too. So it gives a hermetically sealed atmosphere inside the package. Canning is an example of hermetical packaging, and that such type of very sophisticated packaging methods are adopted, and all these packagings are the one method of asepsis or preventing the entry of microbes into the foodstuffs. Then the second is a natural prevention, that is we are all found the skin of the fruits and vegetables, the shell of the egg, etc. are the example of the natural prevention by the nature itself. They prevent the entry of the microbes into the foodstuffs. So that is the natural method of asepsis. Second is the removal of microorganism. Removal of microorganism is the filtration methods. There are different types of filters, and there are bacteria proof filters made of asbestos, pads, unglazed porcelain, etc. are used as the filtering methods. There are measures are used for the filtrations. There are sophisticated water purifiers are in there. All of you know very well about the water purifiers. In the water purifiers also there are filters. Whenever filters removes the dirt and dust particles, it also reduces the microbial count by removing the dust and dirt particles. There are hundreds of microbes are adhering to the dust and dirt particles. When we remove the dust and dirt particles, the microbes also can be removed, by which the microbial count in the food cells can be removed. It is utilized not only for the water but also for fruit juices, and other liquid foods are filtered to remove the microbial or to reduce the microbial count. So filtration is the method of removing the microorganism. There are different types of filters are available. There are different methods of filtrations is there, but you doesn't know about the details of the filtration. But filtration is one of the method to remove the microorganism. Third one is the hindering the growth and activity of microorganisms. This is the principle we are adopting for most of the preservation methods. In this, in the storage section, we have studied the different types of environmental conditions that favor the growth and survival of the microorganism. By hindering the growth and activity means we are forming an environmental condition which are not suitable for the growth and survival of the microorganism. For example, moisture content is needed for the growth and survival of microorganisms. When we remove the moisture content, the microbes cannot able to grow and survive in that food products. The very example is the cereals and pulses. You know, cereals and pulses are in a dried form. There is no moisture content, and also everyone knows that it is a non-perishable food. And it is non-perishable because they have the lowest or no moisture content in it. So this is the principle of hindering the growth and activity of microorganism. In such a way, all the factors such as oxygen, moisture, temperature, and pH can be altered to make the environmental condition unfavorable for the microbes and thereby hindering the growth and activity of the microorganism. Next is the killing of microorganism. For killing, we are using two methods: heat and irradiation. In heat, we can adopt high temperature as well as the low temperature. In low temperature, we are using freezers, and in the high temperature, we are using sterilization. So, in both, from the more than 100 degree to minus 20 or 30 degree, the temperature is ranges, but the optimum temperature is the room temperature. Higher than the room temperature as well as lower than the room temperature both destroys the microorganisms. Then irradiation is the, you know, ultraviolet rays are the rays used to destroy the microorganisms. That is the irradiation process. Third one is the prevention or delay of self-decomposition. It can be done by destruction of enzymes and the prevention of oxidation reaction. Destruction of enzymes, we are already discussed it earlier. The enzymatic reactions causes the chemical changes in the foodstuffs. By preventing the action of enzymes, we can prevent the chemical reaction happening in the foodstuffs. Then prevention of oxidation, it is the in this we are preventing the contact with the atmosphere, or the oxygen entry is completely prevented, thereby oxidation is reduced. My main example is the browning reaction. For preventing browning reaction in fruits, especially we are preparing fruits, apple for fruit salad. We are cutting the apple and putting in a sugar solution. The sugar solution prevents its contact with the oxygen, and thereby it reduces the browning reaction. So that is an example. We are reducing the oxidative reactions so that the spoilage or deterioration can be reduced. That is the prevention or delay of decomposition, two methods: destruction of enzymes and the prevention of oxidation reactions. Next is the prevention of damage by insects, animals, and mechanical causes. This can be attained by two methods. First is the hygienic and careful food handling. Food handlers should be trained such that they must be careful in harvesting, transporting, and storing the foodstuffs that prevent the infestation by insects, rodents, and other cut and bruises. Then construction of impervious storage houses, sanitized, fumigated, clean, clear, closed storage houses can be used for the storage of foodstuffs. This will prevent the entry of insects, rodents, and other things into the storage houses. This is the prevention of damage by insects, animals, and mechanical causes. These are the principles. Then we are moving to the methods of food preservation. There are different methods can be adopted, and the methods are classified based on different categorizations. We can classify the methods based on the principles we have studied, and we can use the temperature applied. It can be classified based on the application of temperature. We can classify it based on the use of chemicals, and there are different classification. Here we are classifying the food preservation method in a differently, in a microbial perspective. So what is food preservation methods? Food preservation methods, the intensity and the time vary depending on the food item, the quantity of the items to be preserved. Then the based on the microbial activity, the methods of food preservation can be broadly classified into two types: bactericidal methods and bacteriostatic methods. Bacteriostatic methods based on the prevention or multiplication of microorganisms. This is the principle we have already studied. The prevention and delay of microbial decomposition. In the bacteriostatic methods, the principle of prevention and multiplication of microorganisms is applied. In this can be achieved by removal of water, use of acids, oils or spices, keeping the foodstuff in a low temperature. So here we have discussed it earlier. We are altering the environmental condition of the microbes to prevent the growth and reproduction of microorganisms. So the different methods can be adopted at the removal of water, high or low temperature, use of acids, oils or spices. Then methods based on this principle are drying, freezing, pickling, salting and smoking. There are a lot of other methods: squash, sugar based preservation methods, etc. also comes under this method, bacteriostatic methods. Then the bactericidal methods, in which the microorganisms are killed. So it is the principle based on killing the microorganism is used in this method, bactericidal methods. That means killing of microorganisms. Most of the microorganisms are killed in this method. Examples: cooking, canning, pasteurization, sterilization, irradiation, etc. Then we are moving to the bacteriostatic methods. Bacteriostatic methods prevents the microbial decomposition in the foodstuffs. So, altering the environmental conditions prevent the growth of microorganisms. This can be attained by changing the environmental conditions. The favorable environmental conditions are high oxygen and moisture availability, room temperature, neutral pH. These are the favorable environmental conditions. We are altering these environmental conditions to preserve the food. Then, how can we create a bacteriostatic condition? Removal of water, use of oil and spices, use of acid, use of chemical preservatives, use of low temperature. First is the removal of water. Removal of water can be done by sun drying, smoking, additional salt and sugar. These are the only three methods we are discussing here. There are mechanical drying, spray drying. There are lot of different types of drying methods are there, and there are a lot of salt and sugar based cookeries are also available. These are the three examples we are discussing here. Generally, the removal of water method is known as dehydration or removal of water. So, in the dehydration method, first we are going to discuss about the sun drying method. All of you know what is sun drying method. We are putting foodstuffs in the direct sunlight. By the sunlight, it evaporates the moisture content in the foodstuffs, thereby reducing the available moisture inside the food, and the favorable condition of moisture is reduced, and thereby bacteria are destroyed or they are unable to grow in the dry foodstuff. So that is the sun drying process. Next is the smoking process. In the smoking process, we are putting the foodstuffs in a hot, smoky atmosphere. That means പണ്ടൊക്കെ പരണത്ത് വെച്ചിട്ട് ഇങ്ങനെ വിറകുള്ള അടുപ്പ് കത്തിക്കുമ്പോൾ അതിൻ്റെ മുകളിൽ പുളി, മീൻ അതുപോലെയുള്ള സാധനങ്ങളൊക്കെ വെച്ച് എടുക്കുമായിരുന്നു. അതാണ് സ്മോക്കിംഗ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ പുകയ്ക്കകത്ത്. ദാറ്റ്സ് എ സ്മോക്കിംഗ് പ്രോസസ്സ്. അപ്പോൾ ദർ ഈസ് എ കാർബൺ കണ്ടൻറ്റ് ഇൻ ദ സ്മോക്ക് ഹാസ് എൻ കാർബൺ കണ്ടൻറ്റ് as well as it has a heat. The heat evaporates the moisture content and the smoke gives a carbonated or a different taste and texture to the foodstuffs. That is a smoked foodstuffs. That is the smoking process. Here we are showing a smoker. That is a equipment for used only for the smoking purpose. In this, the heat is given in the bottom. From that, the smokes and the heat penetrates into the foodstuffs. The heat evaporates the moisture content. The smoke gives a smoky flavor and texture to the foodstuffs. That is a smoking process. Then addition of salt and sugar. Addition of salt is mainly used in the salting process. Uppilitta. Fruits and vegetables എല്ലാം തന്നെ ഉപ്പിലിട്ടത്, ദാറ്റ് ഇസ് എ സോൾട്ടിങ് പ്രോസസ്, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ബ്രൈനിങ് എന്ന് പറയും. ദെൻ ദ ഷുഗർ സൊല്യൂഷൻസ്, ഷുഗർ സിറപ്പിൻ്റെ അകത്തിട്ട് ഫ്രൂട്ട്സ് പ്രിസർവ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്, ദാറ്റ് ഇസ് കാനിങ് പ്രോസസ്. അതും അതാണ് സോൾട്ട് ആൻഡ് ഷുഗർ പ്രിസർവേഷൻ്റെ അകത്ത് വരുന്നത്. ഇത് രണ്ടിൻ്റെ അകത്തും സോൾട്ട് ആൻഡ് ഷുഗർ സൊല്യൂഷൻ വരുമ്പോൾ രണ്ടിൻ്റെ അകത്തും ഉണ്ടാകുന്നത് ഓസ്മോസിസ് ആണ് നടക്കുന്നത്. എല്ലാം അറിയാം. ഇസ് every microorganismത്തിൻ്റെ cell structure is a semi-permeable membrane. Through the semi-permeable membrane, osmosis is the passage of water from the higher concentration to the lower concentration. Water molecules in a concentration from the higher concentration to the lower concentration. When in a concentrated sugar solution, the content of water molecule is less in the sugar solution and the number of water molecules is higher in the microbial cell. So from the microbial cells, the water molecules passes through the semi-permeable or the cell structure to the salt solution. There plasmolysis or the destruction of microbial cell occurs. Thereby the microbes are completely destroyed. This is the role of both salt and sugar solution. In the salt solution, this is the salt concentration is higher, water concentration is lower. In the sugar syrup, sugar concentration is higher, the water concentration is low. In both cases, water molecules from inside the microbes passes to the outside or to the environment. Thereby plasmolysis, the microbial cells are destroyed and plasmolysis occurs and the microbes are completely destroyed. This is the osmosis process and by which the preservation takes place. So in this also the available water content is reduced. Next is the use of oils and spices. Use of oils and spices, in this the microbial growth is prevented by the oil by preventing the contact with the oxygen, and when the oxygen availability is reduced, the microbes are unable to grow and survive in the condition, and also the moisture availability is also reduced by the layer of oil. Then spices have a bactericidal effect which hinder the growth and survival or inhibit the growth of microbes inside the foodstuff. So spices inhibit the growth as well as it prevents the entry of oxygen into the foodstuff as well as the moisture into the foodstuff. So there are completely an unfavorable condition for the microbes, so the microbial growth and survival are hindered and the shelf life is improved. Then use of acid. Everyone know the neutral pH is the ideal condition for the growth and survival of the microorganisms. When the pH is altered, the microbes cannot be able to grow and survive in the medium. So, in the use of acids, acidification occurs which destroys microbial growth or make the environment undesirable for the microorganisms to grow. But at the same time, the acids gives a peculiar flavor and taste to the foodstuffs. The common food acids include vinegar, citric acid, tartaric acid, malic acid, etc. These are the flavor enhancers as well as the preservatives as well as it acts as an antioxidant which prevents the oxidation reactions. Then the use of chemical preservatives. The chemical preservatives interfere the microorganisms enzyme activity or it changes the genetic mechanism of the microorganisms. It also acts as an antioxidant. The common preservatives used are sodium benzoate. It is a sodium salt of benzoic acid. It's a common preservative used in most of the pickles, jams, and jellies. Then the potassium metabisulfate, commonly known as KMS. Potassium metabisulfate, known as KMS, and then sorbic acid, calcium propionate are the other commonly used chemical preservatives. Commonly used preservatives are sodium benzoate and potassium metabisulfate. It is commonly known as KMS. Then use of low temperature. In low temperature, there are three different types of low temperature equipments used for the preservation. First is the cellar storage. Cellar storage is almost equal to the Janata refrigerator you have already studied. It is its temperature is lowered up to 15 degrees Celsius only. It is ideal for the fruits and vegetables for a short time storage. Then is the refrigerated condition. These are the refrigerator found in our households. Its temperature is 0 degree to 5 degrees Celsius. In temperature, it is the lowest temperature. In this, most of the foodstuffs are stored in a quite good condition for a while, especially fruits and vegetables, meat and egg, etc. But it doesn't have a longer shelf life. But it can be kept for a few more days to be edible. Okay, then next is the cold storage condition. It is the freezers found in the meat and meat fish sections. Its temperature is from minus 18 degree to minus 40 degrees Celsius. It is the lowest temperature. All the animal foods, all the flesh foods are kept in the freezers for a longer shelf life. Then the freeze drying method. This is a combination of dehydration and freezing method. In the freeze drying process, the water content inside the foodstuffs is crystallized or it is frozen to form crystals, and these crystals are removed from the foodstuffs by the sublimation process. Sublimation process, from the solid it is directly converted to the gaseous process and removed. This is the sublimation process. So in freeze drying process, the moisture, the interstitial moisture is frozen to form the crystals, and these crystals are removed from the foodstuffs by sublimation. And in this method, there is slow freezing method and the quick freezing method. And the quick freezing method is the most recommended one, because in quick freezing method, each moisture particle is frozen quickly, so there doesn't get a time to club the water molecules to form a larger crystals. If the crystal is larger crystals are formed, there is a chance for the destruction of food cells that will destroy the texture, taste, and color of the original food material. So quick freezing is recommended for the freeze drying process. In quick freezing, the crystals forms are very small in size, or each water particle is formed to a crystal. So the destruction of food cells is go to minimum, so the food can be preserved in its original texture and flavor conditions, and the the small crystals is easy to remove by the sublimation method. So the food cells are destroyed very low in quick freeze drying process. Then bactericidal methods. In this method, killing of microorganisms is the principle behind bactericidal method. There are three methods. Temperature below 100 degrees Celsius, that is pasteurization method, is found by the Louis Pasteur. Then the temperature of boiling water, that is 100 degrees Celsius, that is a normal cooking method. In the cooking method, we have studied about the boiling, stewing, etc. All these process comes under the temperature of boiling water 100 degrees Celsius. Then the third one is the temperature above 100 degrees Celsius, that is the canning process. And there are one more process, that is a sterilization process. In canning process, there is also sterilization. Then three main types of pasteurization. The first method is temperature below 100 degrees Celsius. That's the pasteurization process. There are three main types of pasteurization process used. The low temperature, longer time process, LT process. In this, 63 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes or less is often used. Then the high temperature short time HTST method, in which 71.7 degrees Celsius for 15 seconds is used. There is 63 for 30 seconds, but in this case 71.7 degrees or 72 degrees Celsius for around 15 seconds is applied. Then the ultra high temperature is the flash pasteurization process, in which milk is heated at 100 degrees Celsius for 0.01 seconds, and in all this process after pasteurization it is rapidly cooled to 10 degrees Celsius or lower temperature. It is around come to up to maybe up to 4 or 5 degrees Celsius. It is cooled and held at that temperature. This temperature inhibits the growth of microorganisms that may have survived. So in this temperature, it is heat. It is not a slow heating process. Directly the milk is boiled, or they say it reaches the 63 degrees Celsius at a second, and keep it for 30 minutes there. Then it is rapidly cooled to 5 4 or below 10 degrees Celsius. There is no time is taken to reach the temperature up to 63 to 100 degrees Celsius, and there is in no time it is reached to 10 degree. So there is no time lag to reach the temperature, the optimum temperature whatever we chooses. There is no time lag, or it is not just like we are boiling the milk. It absorbs heat, takes time to boil, but there is no boiling process occur. Directly the temperature is reached to the high degree and kept it for seconds. So there is no cooking occurs, no changes in the texture occurs, no change in the taste occurs. There is no changes occurs because it's not a slow process. It is a flash process. Directly it reaches the highest temperature kept it the particular time span. It may be 15 seconds or 0.01 seconds based on the temperature reached. Then it is rapidly, suddenly come to a temperature below 10 degrees Celsius. So there is no change in the texture, there is no change in the flavor, there is no change in the consistency occurs. This is the all pasteurized milk, Milma, Malanad, all these milks are pasteurized. And why? Due to this pasteurization, there is no change in taste or texture occurs as we are boiling it in our household. So this is the pasteurization process. Don't think it is a slow process, it is high process. Directly the food reaches the highest temperature. Just keep it for the given time period and it is rapidly cooled to the lowest temperature, and it is a pasteurization process. Then next is the temperature of boiling water, that is 100 degree, that we have already studied in the cooking process. Then third one is the temperature above 100 degrees Celsius, and the example given is canning process. Then we can go through the details of the canning process. These are the steps in the canning process. In the canning process, first the harvesting occurs. First growing, then harvesting. In the harvesting and transporting time, utmost care is given not to form cuts or bruises. If there is any insect infestation, there is any cuts or bruises in the foodstuff, that food is doesn't taken for a canning process. Sound, fresh foods are collected for the canning process. The selection is very much important for the canning process. The second step is the sorting or grading process, in which sound, uniform shaped, uniformly colored, uniformly ripened foodstuffs are chosen. That is the sorting process. After sorting, thoroughly wash to remove the surface microflora, and they are after cleaning, they will most probably the foodstuffs are washed in a running water, so that the microbes in the surface flora can be completely removed from the foodstuffs. Then this pass to the peeling, cutting, or preparation section, in which, if needed, they are peeled. They are cut into small sizes. Each foodstuff needed different preparation methods based on the food. Based on the type of food, different preparation methods are adopted, and based on that, they are prepared for packed in a can. So that is the preparation process, in which peeling, cutting, pitting, etc. occurs. Then these are blanched. Blanching involves the partial cooking some by plunging it into boiling water. Not completely boiling water, it's a simmering water, almost 200 degrees Celsius water. It is poured into the boiling water and then immediately removed from the boiling water, so that the enzymes and enzymes are made inactive, and the microbial count is reduced to some extent. So this is the blanching process, in which it destroys around 99.9% of microflora, and it at the same time it stops the enzyme action, which can cause loss of flavor, color, and texture. And this process, the color enhances, the texture enhances, and the flavor enhances, and it gives a fresh and dynamic look to the foodstuffs. It mostly adapted to the fruits and vegetables. This is the blanching process. Then next is the filling in the cans. The foodstuffs are filled in the cans. Then the syrupping or brining process. Syrupping or brining process is the adding of high concentration of sugar or salt solution. Sugar solution is known as the syrupping process, and salt solution is known as the brining process. As we are already discussed, osmosis occurs, which leads to plasmolysis. It interferes with the growth and survival of the microbes, and thereby destroys the microbial cell. This is the syrupping or the brining process. Then, after syrupping or brining process, it passes to the packaging section. In the packaging section, it is packed in the container, and then it is passed to the hermetically sealing the container. Hermetically sealing means it is the removal of air from the container. Most of the microbes found in the food are aerobic bacteria. Aerobic bacteria means they can survive and grow well in the presence of oxygen. So most of the microbes, as we studied about the Salmonella, Staphylococcus, all these are aerobic bacteria which grow and survive well in the presence of oxygen. So this oxygen is completely removed from the can, so that we can hinder the growth and reproduction of microorganisms. but there is only one microorganism, the Clostridium botulinum, that found in the canned food spoiled the canned food cells. It is an anaerobic bacteria causing botulism intoxication, as we studied earlier. Except Clostridium botulinum, all other foodborne bacteria are anaerobic in nature, which grow and survive in the presence of oxygen. By removing the oxygen, we can hinder the growth and survival of microorganisms. So that is the removal of air is known as hermetic sealing or the vacuum sealing process. Then next is the thermally processing for product and the container together. Both the products and container are thermally processed, that is known as the sterilization process. Sterilization or the thermal processing. In the sterilization process, the microorganisms are completely destroyed by moist heat, dry heat, irradiation, or any other chemical methods. In this, both jars and foodstuffs are are combinedly treated in a high heat or the irradiation process or the chemical process. Both moist and dry heat, any method can be adopted, but both the cans and the foodstuffs is thermally treated or sterilized to destroy if any of the microbes is surveyed, that is completely destroyed in this sterilization process. Then these are cooled to room temperature. Based on the type of foodstuffs we are canned, it is cooled to room temperature or the storage temperature at which it is meant for. At that temperature it is cooled, then stored and transported to the particular retail markets. This is the canning process generally adopted. Thank you. These are the different methods of food preservation. So, by here we are concluding the food preservation chapter, and then while before concluding, we can go through the go to the main points we are discussed. We are discussed about the food spoilage, the different types of food spoilage, that is physical spoilage, chemical spoilage, mechanical spoilage, etc. Then the growth of microorganisms, factors favoring the growth of microorganisms, then how can we prevent the microorganisms, then the different preservation methods we can adopt, and the up to which the canning, up to canning we are discussed about the spoilage and preservation method. By here we are concluding the fifth chapter. Thank you.